So basically, I started my college in 2010. So I took up anthropology because it seemed interesting. So I did my bachelor's in anthropology as well. So, but at the time, I was interested more in evolutionary studies and biological evolution. So, with that thought, I entered my master's. So, I also did my master's from DU only.
Mm,
So, but I graduated in 2015. After that, I did not want to pursue PhD immediately. So, I took a couple of years break, and in that, I prepared for civil services. So
mm,
I was like, okay, social stuff is very, very much, like interesting. And at the same time, digital politics was rising. Like India was in this grasp of political atmosphere, which was very digitally driven. So social media sites were bursting with political content. And that took me to independent research where I explored the relation between social media and the visuals that are coming and how narratives are being made. And through that, I got very much interested in how social media influences our daily lives.
mm,
And after like presenting a couple of papers, I actually got to work with a professor based in Germany, and for that I worked nearly 1 year. So throughout
mm,
that, I explored the relation between digital media and everyday life, and slowly I started to see like it's not just politics, and it in every sphere you can see how social media or digital media circulation is impacting everyday lives. So then in December 2018, I came across this advertisement. I had no intention to pursue PhD as such, but I
mm,
came across a PhD position advert. And
mm,
it was like right up my alley because it was focusing on visual media and gurus and atheists and digital media. So I thought, yeah, this will be interesting to explore.
mm,
So I just applied for that, and somehow things worked out, and I got through that. And that started my journey towards atheism, actually.
mm,
So,
mm,
as the project was about atheism, so I was doing readings about it. But even in my own experience, because I started calling myself atheist back in 2012, so I
right.
knew like how social media influenced me. I had some YouTube videos that I watched, then I had done some readings, and then I knew about Facebook groups online, which are like atheist specific. So through my experience with that and the project guidelines, I started thinking about like how to pursue this anthropology of atheism in South Asia, because which is mostly recognized as a very religious land. So
Mm,
I started
mm,
doing readings, and then I found that digital media can actually be considered a form of new mediation, and it
mm.
can have a very unique impact on atheism. So that's how I am proceeding now. So I'm trying to understand how digital media comes into the picture regarding atheism.
Yeah, I mean that's quite interesting because India is looked at as a very religious land, right? And I think
Yeah.
to plunge into this very study of atheism, and since as you have said, it's I also feel like it's more to do with the social media and the very interconnectedness of the world that we are in now. That people are getting influenced from the ideologies from all over the world, and that in the West, I mean, the idea of atheism and the popular atheist, the new atheist is coming up, and
Yeah.
you know they are doing many of the popular things in social media, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they are also writing popular books and all, and at the same time, the young generations, people in India also kind of reading it. So I think it's a very good area of research. How have your journey been 2 years in Edinburgh University, and you know, speaking with people and then talking to people about this area, and then reading the literatures and all.
So
Mm,
within 1 year, I've learned a lot about how to see atheism beyond a simple rejection of God. Like atheism has more to do with it. For example, just the name term atheist, it is a politically charged category in the
mm,
West. And because it comes with the connotation that you're some kind of an activist, and like being atheist is a strong political assertion,
mm,
which might not be taken, like neutrally. So there are other terms which put things in a neutral manner, such as a humanist. So the politics unfold with the very label of atheist, and how they work and how they gain acceptance by treating religion. Like, for example, humanists kind of try to bring in a secular perspective on things. So they
mm,
do not say like religion is bad and we are done with it. they discard the notion of God, but at the same time they start try to come up with religious substitute, secular substitute of it. So they have their own ceremonies, there are small festivities and substitution of church at work, substitution of marriage ceremonies, like it will not take place in church, but it can take place somewhere else. So you have to see that when people, atheists across the world as a movement deny religion, they try to bring in an alternate perspective, and what that perspective is actually defines what religion means to them. So it is very interesting to see so many different examples from across the globe. And
Yeah.
coming to India, things become even more complicated because Hinduism as a religion is
Mm,
quite distinct from Abrahamic religions.
mm, mm, mm,
Because and I'm just talking about this mainland India kind of thing, like
mm,
where Nastikta is the term used for atheist, Nastik in Hindi. And
mm,
in other India, where I'm specifically working, things become complicated because you cannot distinguish critique of religion from atheism as such, because
mm,
these two
mm,
are
mm,
fused. So,
mm, mm.
yeah,
Yeah. Quite interesting. And when you look at India itself, the Jarvaka system was already there, and then
yeah,
it kind of later on the historians will say that it kind of died down. But then
yeah,
I think when you look at the social cultural aspects and the religious aspects of India, then obviously Hinduism is not a monolithic system, right? It's
yeah,
a conglomeration of so many philosophical systems. So I
yeah.
think to kind of say that to kind of make the division in Hinduism where this is the religious and this is the atheistic perspective and all, it becomes a bit difficult also. So how do you historically, right? How do you see the very notion of atheism in India?
Okay, so basically, like Hinduism codified itself when Vedas and these scriptures were written. Like so there we got a solid grounding of what Hinduism can actually mean through these
Mm,
Vedas and Upanishads and stuff. So, but you can always see there have been counter Hinduism movements throughout its history. For example,
mm,
the first two popular movements were Buddhism and Jainism, out of which Buddhist philosophy and Jainist philosophy actually emerged. So that was
mm,
also a critique of Hinduism. So we have to look at atheism in view of critique as well. It was not
mm,
simply a denial of God. It also came from to critique within a structure which was imposing itself on people. So this critique actually created space for accepting dissent overall. So when people said ki, like they have different views about Hinduism, that became accepted in the fold. Ki, okay, yeah, there are different schools of thoughts within Hinduism philosophy, and one of that school was Charvak. Charvak
mm,
school was actually people who followed Charvak at that time were heavily persecuted. It was not a
mm,
very well accepted notion, but its philosophical grounding stood because it
mm,
was logical and it made sense. But when people came and practiced it on ground, they did face violence. So that's why it
mm,
died down as well. It survived in the text because it made for a good argument, and there was space to accommodate that argument, but there was no space
mm,
to accommodate those practices because it
mm,
meant that the status quo needs to change. So
mm,
people talked about it, and they were famous, like there were many people who followed that philosophy, but that was not without violence, and that violence was the reason that it kind of died down, and it had a revival moment later in 18th century, 19th century. And
mm,
in between that phase there was Bhakti movement as well. So Bhakti movement basically was also a critique of religion only, critique of caste system, and Dalit leaders, Dalit voices were coming up, and there were so many people across the Indian peninsula who were doing these critique through songs and through different practices and different ways. So Bhakti tradition also contributed to atheistic understanding, like where they questioned where how basic one of the basic questions was how the God can be so unfair. So and
mm,
nobody had an answer for that, and that attracted people because people were suffering. So
mm,
when
yeah.
you question like how this God cannot see that a child is suffering, that essentially means they are questioning the existence of God, whether God is there or not. So these kind of notions did emerge in Bhakti movement as well. And in Maharashtra, there is a very popular atheist organization, Andhshraddha Nirmulan Samiti. So
Oh, okay.
So it basically, like, I'll come to it later because it
Sure.
but I just
Yeah.
mentioned this because they also seek their inspiration from Bhakti saints in Maharashtra, and it
Mm,
is an atheist organization which is
mm,
working to eradicate superstitions, and they also seek their inspiration from the Bhakti movement tradition. So after that, we come to 15th, 16th, 17th century when colonial influences started to grow and missionary activity started. So with that, actually, English texts also came to India. So
mm,
there was import of Western philosophy as well.
mm,
So popular philosophers came, and Kant, and there are so many philosophers which actually were read by the elites of India and across the who were getting education. So they would read them up, and a new understanding of atheism started to emerge.
mm,
In
mm,
that, in that atheism, that was kind of a modern atheism because it vouched for rational thinking and logical thinking, and we should live our way in life in a particular way, and religion is a nuisance to that. So the popular notion of atheism started to being imported in India, and along with that, Marxist movement also came. Like
mm,
Karl Marx text
mm,
also started coming to India in like early 20th century, and people were reading them. Bhagat Singh is a very good example of that. People do not wish to acknowledge that about him, but he was a socialist communist. So
mm,
his the main inspiration to become an atheist was Marxist texts, and
mm,
his
mm,
book "Why I Am an Atheist" is a product
mm,
of that.
mm,
So,
mm,
but people like politically try to brainwash him in multiple folds, but that's another discussion. So you start seeing like how local practices were being viewed through the lens of Western literature, and it created a kind of new atheist understanding in India, like where we need to criticize the status quo as well as the colonial influence that revived some practices of Hinduism, like Brahmanical patriarchy got a boost through that period, and like there were many things. So
mm,
now, throughout this colonial phase and post independence, various atheist organizations started to form across India. So, Andhra Nirmulan Samiti is one example, and there are so many societies across South India
mm,
which started working in an organized manner to eradicate religion. And they were kind of inspired by the political movements of likes of Bhimrao Ambedkar and Periyar, and that gave
mm,
them influence to like form local organizations and challenge the malpractices such as like untouchability or belief in superstition, like somebody can treat you with a magic powder or something like this. So they started questioning these practices, and they did door to door campaign kind of thing, and they started reaching out to people and to try to educate them. But
mm,
here another thing emerges, whereas when science like especially within the last 20 years, especially after the publication of the God Delusion, the
mm,
science is now being regarded as a substitute of religion. Like, we
yeah.
do not believe in religion, we believe in science. This form of new atheism is coming up where religion is being pitted against science, but
Mm,
India
mm,
kind of complicates that.
mm,
Because in
mm,
India,
mm,
it's very common to find a scientist who actually believes in God and doing amazing science.
yes,
It is not
yes,
a unheard thing. So
yes.
clearly, science and religion can coexist. This is not
Mm,
an argument like science can substitute religion.
mm,
So how do we understand this in Indian context? Future
mm,
research would reveal about it. And this is where we are right now. And digital media has come up, and a lot
yeah.
of people like me and young people are finding atheistic content across the globe, and they are that is shaping their views. So here we are today.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just pose a question again. I mean, pose a comment again, and you give your views on that one. I think this is quite interesting because since I know more of the Christian aspect, right, the Christian history and the Christian aspect of it. See, Christianity was kind of at the initial time was very much influenced by Plato. So is Plato
Yeah.
forms and whatever. No, and then I mean, you will see that Christianity is so much kind of culturally mingled with the Jewish religion, philosophy, and social culture aspect of it. So what happened is what happened was that when you look at the history and when you look at Christianity, what happened was that they kind of focus so much on God, right? Okay, what are the attributes of God? I mean,
Mhm.
how does God what is God like? I mean, how does God act? And all. So I mean, so much contemplation of on God is going on in Christianity when you look at it
No.
historically, and then what happens is that when you move from history to forward and all, I mean, people who are coming to critique Christianity also, they are kind of critiquing the very notion of God that they have
Mm,
created, right?
yeah.
So it's quite interesting because they kind of like they're kind of juggling on the philosophical notion of God, the Christianity have
Yeah.
created throughout the history. So is it so in India that when you say that in India, I mean, the critique of religion is happening? Is it something to do with the critique of the very notion of God and the very characteristic of God, or is it something which is very different from the Christian aspect of it? Yeah.
Okay. So, like, specifically in Hinduism, problem emerges when you can say that God exists everywhere.
Mm,
Okay, one you can say that, and at the same time you can say like God, this idol is God.
mm,
So what happens is that the picture becomes very complicated. Like when people are critiquing religion, they might just critique idol worship.
mm, mm,
Okay, so but when going to the very notion of God, its denial is there, but at the same time, its acceptance also there.
mm, mm, mm,
Because people substituted like higher power, it's a natural way of things, and Hinduism does this, and Hinduism does that. It accepts this, it accepts that. So what we need to understand about atheism unfolding within Hinduism is that the critique of structures is very important because the
mm,
structures are actually more problematic than the belief in God itself. From
mm.
like as atheists see the religion, I'm telling you
Yeah.
from that perspective.
Yes.
So for them, the denial or acceptance of God is not the biggest problem. The problem is like caste structure is the problem, or religious difference to or like discrimination is the problem. So for example, I'll give you an example from again from that Maharashtra society I was talking about. So when they used to go to the rural hinterlands, and they would put up magic shows, and they would try to expose that like that local tantric or local baba, whatever he suggested is
Mm,
actually a magic trick, and they would expose that magic trick like he is
mm,
not
mm,
doing any miracle, it is just a simple science that you can understand. But at the same time, they used to assert that in public that they believe in God. But they did that because they knew if they say they don't believe, that can invite violence.
mm,
But while preserving that, yeah, okay, God is there, but this is wrong. And they criticized and tried to rationalize that the thinking of villagers, like they should think more rationally. So
mm,
for
mm,
them, it did not matter whether they believed in the God or not. They should
mm,
not believe in superstitions. That was their focus. So
mm,
getting my
mm,
point,
mm.
like they more
Yeah.
focus more on the structural aspects of it first,
Mm, mm.
and the question of denial of God come later, because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
want to first challenge whatever ails the Hinduism kind of. So
Mm.
I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, and I think that's the difference. You see, I see it like this, where in India, when you look at India, then it's not so much of the kind of argument against or the denial of the God and then the characteristic of God itself, but then you are saying that it's more of the structures, the practice of it, because I think. In Hinduism, what happens is that people really do not define God like Christians do, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they don't really define God, define the characteristic, and all of
yeah,
those things. And I think that is where a big difference lies in
yeah,
the Christianity that I'm studying and the very Indian aspect of it. And I think that is where when you were talking about later on when the colonization happened, and people when people began reading the Western metras and all, then only the very critique of the notion of the very idea and essence of God itself started, right?
yeah.
Are you kind of seeing something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, because before that, because critique of religion is much more popular than critique of God here,
Mm,
like historically. So, like nobody questions. Like people will say, like Krishna and Rama, they were a myth. Yeah, okay, they were a myth, but but they were not God, and everything is acceptable. But there is not much debate about it.
mm,
The debates again go back to the critique of what Rama did and what Krishna did, and
mm,
how it influences the cultural practices. Like, for example, there's one notion of Rama being the ideal man.
Mm.
So it doesn't matter whether Rama was a god or not. The debate is on whether he was an ideal man or not. That is the distinction.
Yeah.
So that even when you're talking about God, it descends on the behavioral level. At least in the
Mm.
northern parts of India. Obviously, there is a segment which actively takes up the debate of whether there is God or not. But it is not the popular debate. Popular debate remains about, like for example, this character of Rama, not
Mm.
the Rama as a god itself, like he was a
Mm.
god or not. This is not the debate.
Mm.
So
Mm.
yeah, that
Yeah,
is that.
that's really interesting. So, can you also tell something about since you say that there are certain atheistic organization in and around India, So, how this emerge and what are their visions and what do they really do? I mean, in general sense.
Okay, so some of the organizations, nationalist organizations that are working, they
Mm.
do they are heavily working on eradicating superstitions.
Mm.
So their focus is not that in regional, in like there are many organizations, many parts. So for example, there is Takshil Society in Punjab. So it
Mm.
conducts programs so that people are not cheated in the name of religion. So
Mm.
their main
Mm.
principle is like we should promote science and we should educate people to think clearly for
Mm.
themselves and not fall prey to the ills of religion. Like, for example, they should not be donating money to random religious figure just because he is religious.
Mm.
They
Mm.
should know that he is an imposter, and they try to teach people to learn how to spot them and how to confront them. And
Mm.
that is the basic movement that is going on. And similar movements are going across India. So there are two important scholars whose work you can look up.
Mm.
Actually, Johannes Quack is there, who has worked with the organization in Maharashtra, and
Mm.
there is Stephen Binder. He has worked in Andhra Pradesh.
Mm.
So in Andhra, he is also working with a rationalist organization which does miracle exposure programs. They also do like they also stage activities like you can put your hand in boiling oil and you do not burn. So they teach you the science behind it. Like anyone can do that. There is nothing miraculous about it. So these small methods of magic that are used by religious figures to fool people, they expose them, and through that they make a comment like religion can be reconsidered. Whatever you see is not true. So such interventions do happen, and in Tamil Nadu, you must be aware, Periyar movement is there. So Periyar actively promoted atheistic thinking. So there is a lot of influence of Periyar, and there are many organizations which are carrying it forward.
Mm.
So yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
that.
so I think that's very interesting because it's more of the critique of superstition, and as you have said, the structures aspect of it. So when you look at again coming to my study and then the things that I know, when you look at Christianity, then coming to science and religion, right?
Yeah.
With the emergence of Charles Darwin and his work, there became a division called science versus religion, which I see it as a false dichotomy, right? But then I think
Yeah.
in the very Christian, the Christian West, it was kind of like a big deal actually, theologically and also at the same time, social culturally. So, uh, how do you see India in that perspective? I mean, in terms of the historically, when you look at India from the perspective of science and religion, right? How do you see India, and how is India taken the very aspect of science and religion, and how have they thought about it?
Okay. So like science had always am I okay? Science always had in space. Scientific thinking had a space in Indian society. So like going back to the ancient India and Rig Veda and these texts, you can see some references to science coming up in different forms. Like Ayurveda is one example. Whether it is the right science or not, it is a debatable topic, but there is a reference to it. And so, but the modern day science as it came, it is more of a pedagogical discourse, like people learn it, but it is not a philosophical discourse as such for the popular masses.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why there is no conflict as such between science and religion, as because in the West, when you see science basically challenged the creative that God created everything. So
Yeah.
this creationism was pit against the nature of uh, like universe
Mm.
by science. So science challenged that ki, no, creationism is not right. That timeline doesn't add up, and that sparked debate. And so that's why you see so many debates about proving the existence of dinosaurs when that is so obvious that fossils are there.
Yeah.
Like so, such debates come up which are centered around the creationism aspect of it. And then
Mm.
you see a revival movement and like new movement in Christianity, which intellectual design is the term, I guess. So
Mm.
it is an intellectual design that tries to accommodate the science aspect, but again, the central remains like who created everything.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
debate is still enraging. Here, the debate is not so much about creation, and if even if it is so much, like timeline is so extended, like it happened so and so long
Yeah.
ago, and since
Yeah.
that everything whatever is working is scientific, and like so they create a space for it. So, but different kind of argument come in Hindu with respect to Hinduism when you start seeing things like astrology. Like how can you
Mm.
believe in astrology? But even that is accepted to a large extent. Like I have
Mm.
seen people who are like graduated in physics and they still believe in astrology.
Mm. Mm.
So I am yet to explore more how that works, but
Mm.
it is there. There
Yeah.
is much less friction here than
Mm.
you would expect to come. Yeah,
Yeah. The very thing that you call it's called intelligent design, right? The
yeah,
movement that Discovery Institute has come up
yeah,
with. It's quite interesting. Let me just point out this one where you see in the West historically there has been so much of tension between science and religion because of their philosophical aspect of the notion of the creation of the universe
mm,
and then God
yeah,
itself, right? But then in India it doesn't happen because they don't have the very notion similar notion. So I think that's one interesting point. The second one is where the very popular dictum that goes right because since I know all of this aspect where people say that Hindus doesn't really care so much about science and their philosophical their religion and science doesn't mix together and all of those things. Now this kind of popular phrase and dictum goes because why? Because uh, Christians looking from outside when they see at Hinduism and their worldview and all, they kind of think that okay, since these people doesn't have any problem with the development in science and and all of those things that are going on, and then they see them as someone who is very superstitious and all, right? So how I think these people are like the whatever comes, going where the wind blows, something like that. I mean,
yeah,
these people are just going and floating everywhere. Something they see them as something like that. The Christians kind of see themselves as something like that. But then I think the thing that you have pointed out was is kind of very much clear that it's not so much of like that. I mean, people are very much scientifically critically minded. Indians also scientifically critically minded people are there, but then for them, the very dichotomy and then the tension that exists in Christianity doesn't exist because of certain philosophical frame. And I think that is a very important distinction to made even in Christianity and Hinduism and also in the popular level, right? Where people critique each other religion in that terms. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, any opinion on
That
that?
is true. Like, because like across India, it's not just about North India as well. Like, there are so many sites. Like, do you know that in ISRO, that before every
Mm.
launch, they'd go to a temple and worship.
Okay,
So
okay. Mm.
ISRO is the like science. If it comes to debate of science in India, then space research is like the highest level of science that you can
Yeah,
get.
yeah,
Because it has been advertised so much and it is exists so much in popular imagination. And
mm,
imagine the head of ISRO going to a temple before
yeah,
launch,
yeah.
and there is no contradiction there. It is an accepted tradition.
Mm, mm,
So what happens exactly? Like
mm,
how would you tell them like they do not know science enough? You can't say that because they are making some of the best space like satellites that they
mm,
are launching. So you cannot say that they do not need science. They do not know science. Sorry. So what happens is that science is not a philosophy here.
mm, mm,
I think
mm.
distinctions come from this aspect. Like science
Yeah.
is not something that you live by. It is
Mm.
something that you do and that
True.
makes
Yeah.
that you helps you to understand universe maybe.
Mm,
But
mm,
still that is not a way you live. that
mm,
still is coming from your religious
mm,
knowledge. For
mm,
some, like they might be atheist people as well, but for those who are religious, this contradiction simply doesn't exist because
mm,
science is just kind of a work-like thing, you
mm,
know.
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Somehow, I kind of feel like the Hindu religion and philosophy doesn't make the false dichotomy which Christians make somehow. I mean, it can be. I mean, people might not like it, but then I think, I mean, Christians might not like it, right? When I say it like that, but then I think
Yeah.
that's kind of true in that sense.
And the kind of argument that you were discussing about, like about superstition, I think that also has to do with the political narrative that is going
Mm,
on right now. So this
mm,
Hindutva movement and the way they try to project Hinduism in a certain way, and they try to reclaim science, like everything was done by us, and like our superstitions are so scientific. That is a
mm.
problematic aspect of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes,
that is
yeah,
also exist. It is not
yeah,
an important, but it is more of a political rhetoric that is being
mm,
pushed down.
mm. Okay. Have discussed about the historical aspect of it and certain notions of the very Western aspect coming to India and when you see the Indian aspect also in Hinduism, there's also been so many renaissance, right? There has been
Mm.
really renaissance in Hindu thought and all those things. So how do you see the very definition of atheism kind of in history and how is it morphing in India actually till the present context? The very definition of atheism.
I think atheism is becoming uh, a more. Let me think about it. Like, I don't think so much has changed about the definition as such. I think the
Mm,
work at hand for atheists have changed. For
mm,
example, what would you say if you were like, for example, if you were an atheist in 1950s?
mm.
What would you be criticizing in India? I'm asking you.
Sadi system or certain,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah,
same things are being done right now. So I don't think much has changed because India has not progressed that much where, like the debate around atheism changed. So, but at the same time, with coming of like digital media and new media activities, more people are voicing that they are an atheist.
mm,
So
mm,
there is this transnational migration of media objects that
mm,
certainly influences the way atheists are thinking. For
mm,
example, atheist is a always a progressive ideology,
mm,
you know like progressive liberal ideology, but at the same time there are people who are conservative but are atheists, so they are labeled
mm,
as Hindu atheists by.
mm,
And these Hindu atheists are just atheists, but they cannot accept the criticism of their own religion.
mm,
So these kind of contentions are also emerging, but I am still thinking about, like, historically, if I go down, what has changed? Like the critique of caste system is still there. It's one of the favorite themes for
yeah, yeah,
atheists in India to
mm,
talk about. So,
mm,
and caste system is there. So everyday politics bring up debate about it. Like recently, SC/ST Act, something happened with regards to that, and there was an active debate about the critique of caste system again. So those things are still there. So what has changed? I would just, like, the focus on science and rational thinking is becoming more pronounced.
mm,
That's
mm,
all
mm,
I could say.
mm. Yeah. So since I'm sure you also talk to atheists and you yourself in India, when anyone says that I'm an atheist, how do they define atheism as such? Because I mean, philosophically, I'm kind of thinking about this one, okay? Because I mean, the very definition of atheism is rejection of the denial or rejection or the denial of the
Okay.
God or gods, right? God or gods. So, but then some people, some are kind of like the agnostic type, right? And I feel like majority of them are agnostic, where they say that. God might exist, yes, but then I don't have the evidence yet, and there is no evidence yet that I see that there is God or some supernatural superpower. I mean, the God notion, something like that. So you see, here something becomes very important. You see that the first is the some kind of supernatural power or an agent, something like that,
Yeah.
right? And then secondly, the secondly is the very notion of God itself, because I think the very definition and the philosophical definition and notion of God is also kind of different from supernatural power, right? Because I mean, someone might believe in some kind of like the power, okay, some kind of non-human power, but then that person might not believe in God per se, actually.
Yeah.
So there is some kind of distinction there, right? So in India, how do people really, when you talk with the people in India, how do they really define this one, and how do they really look at it?
Okay. So what I would say is it is kind of a spectrum of non-belief. So it is
Mm-hmm.
not just about the answer of whether there is God or not. So doubt is on God is expressed in many forms. For example, for someone I was talking to, for him the material aspect of religion were very problematic. Like the
Mm-hmm.
way people donate for temple and they like they contribute so much in the name of religion and they do not help the actual needy. So for him this materialistic aspect of uh, Hinduism was very problematic and
Mm-hmm.
that made him an atheist. So for
Mm-hmm.
him, it was not about a philosophical pondering of whether there is God or not. For
Mm-hmm.
him, it was a repulsion towards the material aspect of it, and he found it like temples just operate like a business, and he
Mm-hmm.
could not accept that. And
Mm-hmm.
then he says that he's an atheist,
Mm-hmm.
but his atheism does not stem from the question of God. So what happens here is basically he is doubting the presence of God through the critique of material aspect of religion.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
You get my point.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
another person, the problem was the heavily patriarchal discrimination.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the patriarchy that is enforced and the experiences through it actually led her someone to believe that there cannot be a god who is so unfair and who has sanctioned these practices.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, this also come from so it I would say it is more experiential. It's
Mm-hmm.
not as such philosophical. The
Mm-hmm.
philosophical
Yeah.
aspect enter later
Yes.
when you have analyzed and you have wriggled out of religious
Mm-hmm.
practices. Then you are in a position to philosophically, like you start evaluating like there is no God as
Mm-hmm.
such. So, and for another interesting story I can tell you, like from it was somebody who told me like at the age of 12 he started questioning the relevance of festivals and fasting and what is that, what does this mean. His father was also atheist, his mother was not, and he started questioning his father like this all is so problematic, like what happens with that. And one
Mm-hmm.
day he was in a trouble and his mother had told him like whenever he is in trouble he should remember Lord Hanuman and he will be safe. So
Mm-hmm.
he was like he was 12, 13, and he did that, but he got beaten anyhow. So
Mm-hmm.
since that day he stopped believing in God,
Mm-hmm.
because a god who cannot come to his rescue is not a god at all.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another aspect, like the
Mm-hmm.
instead of asking the about the creative creation aspect or the overall larger picture or the higher power, the when needs of a god are not met in everyday life, that also
Mm-hmm.
leads to questioning whether God is there or not. So it's
Yeah.
more about doubts coming from multiple spheres
Mm,
instead of a philosophical debate on one notion of God.
mm,
So
mm,
doubt manifests in different forms, and that
mm,
leads to atheism, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
That's
Uh, When I kind of when I kind of talk about atheism from the Western perspective of it, right, from the very Christian perspective of it, I used to say something like this: uh, in new atheism, and also at the same time philosophically very rigorous person, right? Someone is atheist only in relation to Christian God, actually.
yeah,
So I mean, let me just spell it out. It's something like this: in the Western countries, what you see is that the Christian discourse is going on, right? So people
yeah,
are only on the Christian discourses and Christian. The context is also very Christianized. So what happens is that they are brought up with this notion of the Christian notion of God, right? So how do they become atheists? By doing away with this Christian notion of God. So
yeah,
you are only an atheist in relation to Christian God, something like that, right?
yeah,
And I think that is something which is very important, that there are different notions of trying to understand God and the reality and all of those things, but they are not doing away with all of those. They are only doing away with the aspect of it which they have really gone up with within a certain context of it. So they are atheists only in relation to the very context
yeah.
that they have grown up with. And I think that is something which I also feel like very important, as you have talked about in terms of the Indian context, right? In Indian context. that is more of the experiential aspect of it, and that is where people become atheists from the very more of the experiential aspect of it. And I think that is a very important distinction. Also, at the same time, the social cultural aspect, right, the embeddedness aspect that you
Yeah.
can see in very notion of it. That is why I think. It is also important that when the discourse of atheism that goes out in the West, where there is a big kind of clash, right, between the Christians and the atheists, and the Christians say that, okay,
Mhm.
these atheists are totally wrong, and they do
Yeah.
not believe. There's a different kind of discourse there, actually. And then in India, there's also a very different kind of discourse that is happening, and that is kind of emerging. So what happens is that people from the West or Christians try to club everything in one system, right? So let's
Yeah.
say if someone is a Christian and someone is religious, they tend to think that, okay, Hindus also, they believe in God, and this. So see, they try to analyze Hinduism and then the religious system from their own background, from their own
Yeah.
religious system, and then which is a very wrong way of doing it. And I think that kind of popular notion of analyzing religion and trying to come up with a critique of it, should people should do away with it, right? I think that is a very important thing that
Yeah.
needs to be understood. And I think you have spelled it out very nicely in terms of how atheism is looked at in the Indian context. And I think, yeah, I feel like that is good.
Yeah. Like the Western notion of atheism comes with a very Christian itself.
Yeah, yes,
And all the debates, like I remember I used to watch Richard Dawkins. I have you read The God Delusion?
yes, I did.
So throughout that book, I remained unconvinced because that did not add up to my experience of religion.
Yeah.
Because the all the arguments that he's making, okay, like there is the universe is so old, or how evolution happens,
Mm,
and everything. Like, oh yeah, I understand that, but that is not religion for me, because
mm,
that kind of atheism is specifically centered around the Christian belief system. They
yes.
bring in reference to Bible, and they bring in so many references, so it is so focused on that the whole atheist movement, these four horsemen as they are called, I guess,
Mm,
Sam Harris, and so it is just a denial of Christian God, as you have rightly
yeah.
said. It is just that, and like when you read that, you can get the understanding like how they are critiquing God, but that is a half picture for a country like India or
Mm,
other different cultures which to outside the West, because for
mm,
them the notion of religiosity is also different.
mm,
Like there is a religiosity is more collective. For
mm,
example, in India, there are so many rituals which are family oriented,
mm,
where family comes together and they collectively do a ritual. And if you are an atheist and you try to deny that, look, I am an atheist, I will not do that, you will not be allowed that. You will be
mm.
like, okay, it's a family thing, we have to do it together, don't do it for yourself, do it for your father. Like
Yeah,
this comes in, and this is so
it's true.
different. Like
Yeah,
it is not your individual choice, it is a
yeah,
collective choice.
yeah.
There are so many collective practices that
Mm,
comes within the fold of religion that are not at all captured by the Western notion of atheism. So yeah,
yeah,
there is a lot of scope to explore, like how
yeah.
atheism actually works in India.
Mm. Since we have discussed on the historical aspect, the definition and the development of it, I think now is a good time to come to the present context of it. So there are different levels. The one level is that the very popular ones, which happens in social media, right? And then the very layperson popular ones. But at the same time, there are discourses happening within the educated ones and all also. So what are the attitudes towards atheism now in the present context in India, and how do you see it going in the future? Will people move more towards atheism, or is atheism something which is like desirable to people in India, or I mean, what is their attitude towards it? Yeah.
So if you just talk about like present, then you have to take in the political context as well, because
Mm,
so much politics is unfolding around religion that the
mm,
debate about religion has become everyday now.
yeah.
Like because everything every day something is in news, and families and friends are divided over their political opinions. So within this space, when critique of religion is coming, then atheism is actually makes a lot more sense, because you
mm,
don't side with any religion. You just say
mm,
all religions are, you can distance yourself from all forms of religion.
mm, mm.
So, but how that atheism is being seen in the society is a different debate, because atheism can attract a lot of violence. For
Mm.
example, recently somebody just put up a critique of, like, mocked some Hindu god. That's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
in a stand-up comedy, and he had cases were filed on him, and he had to, like, issue apology on social media, take down that video.
Mm,
So as a practice, atheism is inviting a lot more violence
mm,
because of the political atmosphere as well. So you can see
mm,
that how at the same time there are two things being done.
mm,
At one time, atheism is appealing to more people and it is making more sense as
mm,
a political choice and as a way of critiquing the current regime as well. But at
mm,
the same time, atheists are facing more violence.
mm,
So it is like that. So in this way, when you see atheism actually becomes fused with political ideology,
mm,
one new outcome is that, like in present day, it is fused with political ideologies, and you have to see it in that light. The second thing is, like, with digital media, the scope and understanding of knowing the word is also expanded.
mm,
Like
mm.
you can watch YouTubers from all over the world, and you have so
Yeah.
many good videos to understand small
Mm,
small things, and that helps you to imagine a new kind of world where
mm,
you are inclined to think more in scientific terms. So this
mm.
science driven atheism is also getting popular,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
science and scientific method make more sense, and
yeah.
like people want to do logical things and rational
Mm,
things and live a rational life,
yeah.
and they want to distance themselves from religion. The other thing would be, like, social media provides a safe platform to express your views.
Mm, mm,
So before social media, it became very hard to, like, form a community and come together and just talk. But through digital media and Facebook groups and Instagram handles, and they just provide a space where people can, okay, say, like, okay, I'm not the only one thinking like this. There are
mm,
others like me. That this
mm,
kind of connectivity is also forming,
mm,
and this connectivity actually leads to, like, active debates about what
mm,
atheism means to them,
mm,
and
mm.
that can actually shape how atheist beliefs are seen within the context of India. So
Yeah.
I'll just give you again a tiny example. Like, uh, there in five or six people that I have met,
Mm,
and they are part of this regional group in Delhi, and they said, like, before this, I thought I was so alone. I
mm,
didn't know anybody like me existed, but
mm,
when I discovered this group, my I like it was an explosion of thoughts for me, because there
yeah.
were so many people like me here, and I could
Mm,
freely express myself. So,
yeah.
and it became a kind of safe space for them, and they started sharing their thoughts there.
Yeah.
So, digital media has brought in this, like, forming groups of otherwise
Mm,
isolated individuals.
yeah.
So, this is
Yeah.
also something which is new in atheism in India, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good view and then really good explanation. I mean, so now I'm thinking about in terms of the future prospects, right? I mean, I've seen many YouTube videos on Hinduism and by Hindus, right?
Yeah.
Explaining Hinduism in a very popular way, and when they kind of deal on atheism and all those things, they are not lashing against atheism. Actually, I mean, they are kind of like they kind of accept, right, the atheist
Yeah. Okay.
community or the system itself. I think that is a very good aspect of it, and I think for the future discourse and even in India, right? So since India has a philosophical system which is kind of like the accept, which kind of accept, right, all forms of thinking and system and all. What I think, what I believe in India we can do is that we can form this very atmosphere of Gordian discourse actually with
Okay.
this
Yeah.
very philosophical social notion and system that we have. I mean, I'm talking about this one for the people who are out there, right?
Yeah.
Who are out there who wants to carry on this discourse, because I see what will happen is that as long as we kind of draw hatred towards people and try to divide these people in terms of the political lines or whatever, not what will happen is that we will lose the very essence of our philosophical system itself. I think
Yeah.
the more we divide, the more we lose the essence
Yeah.
of our system. And I think I would also appeal to any Hindus or all the Indians out there, right? That don't do this. I mean, you will end up breaking the very good essence of Hinduism and the Christian, I mean, the Hindu culture, right? And I
Yeah.
think this is something which is very important for all Indians have something which is very different from the very Western notion of God, or philosophical system, or whatever. We have something very good and important to offer to the world, where we can have a very good atmosphere, where we can have a good discourse. And I think this is something which needs to be envisioned and talked about, and then carried forward, right? I think
Yeah.
you might have something to say on that one.
Yeah, like this notion that a religion should not tolerate a criticism should be done away with. Like,
Mm.
not just in terms of freedom of expression or something like that. There should be sensibilities in that side as well. But this there should be an open debate on the contemporary religion and how
Yeah.
we can rectify the errors within, and how can we move towards a more progressive path.
Mm.
So for that we need to stay sensible in terms of like what politics is telling us to do. We should not divide ourselves. We
Mm.
should see, and we should not lose personal connections over political
Mm.
discussions. Like these kind of things will help us to reimagine a new India, and then look move forward with more cohesion and
Mm.
everything. And these philosophical traditions are also important, and they teach us that, like, there is always a scope for active and healthy debate. We should
Yes.
not lose out on that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.